Welcome back to Queen's Mindset. If this is your first time joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are super excited to have you here with us tonight. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to hear this phenomenal lady as she shares her story with us. I'm telling you guys, you are in for a ride. I know I say that all the time, but the stories just keep getting better. So you are in for it. But before we go any further, if you have not done this already, I want you to go right ahead, just hit that subscribe button just right below and make sure that you are subscribed to this channel so that you can be kept abreast of all of our videos as soon as they come up. All right, so let's just go ahead and head into it. So let's welcome to our studio, Kemone, all the way from Jamaica. How are you doing?
Hi, Kivisha. Thank you for having me. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
You are most welcome. Oh, wow, good. So, Kemone, before we get into it, we have to start at the beginning. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Kemone Francis. I am a school counselor here in Kingston, Jamaica. I am also a motivational speaker, author of the book entitled Where Shame Ends, Grace Begins, Chronicles from the Redeemed, Kingdom Indie Award competition finalist, and a second place awardee in the top woman empowerment category.
Wow, congratulations. Congratulations. That's a big
Thank you. Thank you.
So you have a big story to tell, and boy, do we want to hear all of it, right? We can't wait to hear it, right? Well, let's start from the beginning. Let's start to peel back some layers, and I want you to tell us where it all started.
Yes. So throughout my life, periods of triumph, I have associated them with God's grace and my level of determination. My recent phenomenon, I likened that to the story of Job in the Bible, how the Lord allowed Job to be tested. And in the end, he received all and even more. So in 2019, when I announced my engagement to my church community, I was ridiculed for being engaged to an unsaved. I was relieved of my positions. I was also told that I could not testify in church. I was made to understand that God would not want to have anything to do with me, to even consider me. Wow. Nevertheless, I sat and I listened while they talked about me in sermons, at convention, how they talked about me, but that never deterred my walk with Christ. During one Sunday morning service, I was made to understand by the Holy Spirit that God condemns no man. Amen. And it was from that account that I started to increase, that I started to reach out more to try and connect with him. Because as I said, Kimisha, I was made to understand that God would not want to have anything to do with me, to consider me. So I thought of myself as someone small. Thought of myself as someone small. But then when the Holy Spirit revealed to me that God condemns no man, I started to think of myself in a more positive manner, in a more positive light. So on January 1st, I woke up and I began to recite Isaiah 41 verses 18 to 20. A couple weeks after that, I heard the voice saying unto me, "No, write, no, write." 4 months after I completed the manuscript for my book, at my book launch, I realized that that which I went through was greater than me. I realized that I was the carrier for someone else's deliverance. And I am able to say that now because the feedback that I have been receiving from my book has been phenomenal. One of my students shared with me that, "Miss, after reading your book, mommy decided that she's going to go back to church, and she went to the altar and she cried and she got her deliverance." The responses have been phenomenal. So that made me understand that what I went through was greater, much greater than I am, and that I am a carrier for somebody else's deliverance.
Wow. Wow, that is powerful. That is so powerful. So, okay, let's go back just a bit. because you said when that occurred, they started preaching about you in the sermons and how you were being treated at church. Walk us through your feelings. How did you? Because of course we know you felt bad, but I want you to walk us through your feelings and how you were able to overcome those feelings.
All right. So initially when it started, I experienced shocked. I mean, this is a community that I served for over 7 years, a community that I served well. So my initial emotion was shock. After that, Kivisha, what I can say is that I was clothed with the spirit of resilience. While they spoke about me, I sat there and I smiled. I sat and I smiled. After hearing no, right, I began to write about my story. In addition to stories that I have experienced secondhand by my friends who have also experienced rejection from the church. And I decided to put all of those stories together and came up with the beautiful story of where shame ends, grace begins, Chronicles from the Redeemed.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about your book. What can we expect from your book? Because I know you're talking about your story, but what can we gain from reading your book?
All right. So from reading my book, more than anything, I want my readers to know that, look here, your current position in the church, whether you sit at the back, whether you sit at the front, whether you sit at the middle, whether you sit at the side, does not determine your relationship with God. He still sees you if you are sitting at the back. He still sees you if you are sitting at the side. It's not only the persons at the front who he is able to see. More than anything, I also want my reader to know that regardless of their condition, regardless of what it is that they are experiencing, it is not the final say. Man's pronouncement over their life is not the final say. At the end of the day, God is not dependent on the opinion of man to bless us. He is God all by himself.
That's right.
And he works in his time, in his ways, during his time, his thing. We cannot fathom the works of God. And so my book serves as an encouragement tool to help persons during their walk, during their circumstances, their adversities that they are going through, to let them know that regardless of whatever the condition is, God still wants you.
Amen.
He still wants you.
Amen. Amen. You heard that, guys? God still wants you. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter how bad it looks and what they're seeing. He still wants you. Wow. So as you were going through this, now dealing with the shame, and no fault of yours, just because you made a decision to do something that you thought was in your best interest, that everybody somehow wanted to have an opinion in your life, so having to deal with this, who did you have as a support system to help you, get through it?
Ironically, Kimisha, my greatest support came from other pastors.
Wow.
My greatest support came from other pastors who were non-judgmental, who encouraged me. Kemone, you can still do this, Kemone. God still loves you, Kemone. You are still favored in the sight of God. Kemone, you are still valuable in God's eyes.
Yeah.
Other pastors, as well as other Christian friends. There are a few persons from the said church who have been in my corner, praying me up, praying me through. But my greatest level of support came from other pastors.
Wow. Isn't that funny? So did you have a relationship with your pastor at the time?
Sure, certainly. Certainly, we had a mother and daughter relationship.
Wow.
We had a mother and daughter relationship.
So she never had a conversation with you, maybe just pull you aside, let's sit, let's talk about this, and shared her views with you before coming and openly employing stuff in her sermons? Did that not happen?
Yes, it happened. But the thing is, despite my pastor being the host pastor for the church, he still had to answer to a higher body. And when the decision was made, when the announcement was made, it was the higher body who met, the board who met, and they decided that they are going to make this ruling. So I was relieved of all my positions. told I could not testify within the church.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. And let me just get it. Let me just make sure I have it correctly. And the reason why they reacted this way was because you decided to marry someone
And
outside.
unsaved. Yes. Yes.
Wow. Wow. So I don't know. This might be a question. It's like, I mean, this may be a rhetorical question, but who's the church for?
Yeah. Yes. That question.
Yeah.
That question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So as a Christian coming up in the church, of course you have your relationship with God. You know, did God approve your marriage?
Kimisha,
Mhm,
how it started, this is my best friend. We
mhm,
grew up together in the same community from our eyes, or here in Jamaica, we would say from Adi and knee. That's how we were coming up,
mhm,
right? And how it started, I received 3 dreams stating to me that this is your husband. In the dream, I was saying, no, God, he's just a friend. At the time, I
mhm,
only considered him to be a friend. I'm saying, no, God, he's just a friend. I am not looking at him in that manner. He's just a friend. But Kimisha, he has played a tremendous role in my life. I can tell you, even with the book, he helped me to choose the book cover, helped me to get the books here in Jamaica. He has played a tremendous role in my life, I can say.
So is he now a Christian?
He's working on it. He's
Mm,
working on it.
amen.
Yes.
So I mean, nobody asked you, Kimon, did you hear from God? Did anybody ask you that? Any of your Christian leaders, did they ask that question?
Yes, but it was not asked in a manner where it was an open, honest, one-to-one question. It was asked against the background of a preconceived knowledge, if you
Uh,
understand what I'm getting at.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was asked against the background of a preconceived knowledge because a decision was being made. So the question that was now coming forth would have been somewhat redundant because a decision would have already been made.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So it didn't serve any purpose in my eyes. It didn't really serve any purpose.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Interesting, interesting.
Yes.
So now, are you still at the same church, or have you transitioned to another church?
I am still there.
Mm,
Persons ask, Kimon, how you do it? But yes, I am still there. I still worship my way through there. I have not given any instruction to leave.
mm,
That's where I started out as a teenager.
mhm,
That's where, yes, I am still there. I'm
mm.
still there.
Wow. So how does it feel to know that you are there still, but yet you can't participate on the level that you were accustomed to?
Kimisha, I have seen God work out so many things in my life
Mhm,
where I can say, regardless of my name not being called, regardless of me not being able to participate, God is still a good God. For where one door closes, He has opened many more doors. He has opened many more windows. So even if my name is not called, even if I am not actively participating as how I used to,
mhm.
my heart is still contented. My heart is still at peace. My relationship with God still holds strong, regardless of their decision.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I'm just like shocked because I'm just thinking, I don't know, maybe it's just my way of thinking. I'm just thinking that, if I was the pastor, I would at least want to meet with you both, do some counseling, see where both of you guys are at and see how best we can, pray together because first I want to know what God has told you because with your relationship with God, He's going to reveal some things to you that He might not have revealed to me. However, as your pastor who is working and standing in the place of your covering, you get to confirm what God is saying to your you get to confirm to what God is saying to your child. You can say, okay, yes, this is what God is saying in this moment. So I guess that's why I'm a bit baffled, at how it all played out. So now you started to write your book, and your book is doing really well. It's helping a lot of persons. What are your next steps from here?
My next step from here, I smiled and I said, Lord, what is next? Because the promise to me, Kimisha, when I woke up January 1st, 2021, the promise that he made, I will open rivers in high places and I will make your desert stream of water. I have seen him moving tremendously over my life or since the past few years. So my next step, I have no limitations because I've seen him done exceedingly abundantly and above all. Exceedingly abundantly and above all. I have no limitations with him. So as far as my eyes, as far as my mind can conceive it, that's where I am putting it. That is where I am putting it. There's no limitation with him because I have seen where he has gone above and beyond the extreme miles to open, to bless. So I have no limitations with him.
Amen. And how long have you guys been married?
Well, we have not been married as yet. After the incident happened, we decided that we were going to take some time off.
Okay.
Because he was upset at how the church treated me, knowing that I have been attending this church for an extensive period of time and that I have been actively involved in the church. He was upset with how the church treated me. We decided that we were going to take a time off because, to be honest, Kimisha, I was made to understand that I was making a wrong decision, a wrong choice. So I decided, okay, let's take a time off, let's break, and let's see if it is indeed the will of God, because I was coerced into believing that it is not the will of God.
So can you see now, because I know when you get married, God's purpose for marriage is ready for purpose. I mean, so
yes,
plain on the
yes.
word. So can you see how both of your purposes align? Can you see how you guys would make each other stronger? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we have similar interests in terms of empowering and helping others. He does that more so with the male species. My focus is with the female, empowering them, helping them to become better, growing regardless of your condition, like a phoenix to rise from the ashes of the field. And he does that with his male species. Like myself, he has also been called upon to offer motivational speeches to the men within the community. So that is our similar interest that we are walking in line with.
Yeah. I think this is a real great teaching moment for those out there who are watching, because sometimes we see someone and we see them in their now and we don't understand what is going to happen in the future, and God knows the plan. So just like you said, God showed you the dream. God said this is your husband. Right now a lot of things may not make sense, and to those persons who are on the outside and who are looking in, they're judging him based on where he's at now, but they don't understand where God is about to take him. So you don't, it's important that we catch this, because sometimes what can happen, and I'm glad that you were strong enough to stand on the word of God and what God told you, because some people would have said, I'm going to let go of this because everybody else is against it. I have a force that is working against me, and I feel like I'm being backed in the corner. So maybe I didn't really hear from God. Maybe I'm making this up. Maybe all these thoughts start to, to come to your mind, and you think, okay, maybe this is not it. And then what happens is that you can lose what God could be, God could be prepared for you. I'm really strong at not telling persons that you didn't hear from God or God didn't say that, because I understand the relationship that someone has with God is not the relationship that I have.
Yes.
And it's about their lives.
Right.
God is saying that to them, and that's what they strongly believe, that I'm going to believe that with them. Because they have to know, if you said God said, that's a strong statement to me. And I'm saying this because I don't know who's watching. I don't know where you are right now. Maybe you're in a similar space as Kemone. And this is to give you some encouragement that if God told you something, if you heard from God himself, don't let him. Because God, he does not make mistakes. He does not make mistakes.
That is it. That is it.
At all. At all. So tell me now, So now you're preparing this and stuff. So we heard about this side of the church, but what about your families? What was your reaction from them when they found out, okay, Kemone is about to marry this guy?
As I said, he's a family friend. We grew up together. He is a family friend. He's usually at the house. He would sit with my daddy and would play games. You know, my mommy, he would, when we were having on Sunday evening after church, we would cook and we would sit and we eat. He's a family friend. So the reception was good. The reception was good. So initially what happened is that he when he was working overseas and then he came home, and then after he came home he went to my father, and he said to my father, you know, I found interest in your daughter and I would like to get married to her. So he went about it the right way. The reception was good. As I said, we grew up together. It's a family friend.
Well, so he made that decision to marry you after you had already got him the dream that he was already your husband. So he technically was confirming your dream.
Look, Kimisha, I was shocked. Because we started out as friends. We were best friends, right? Best friends. And then after I got the dream, Kimisha, I was like, no, God, no, he's my friend. I'm not looking at him as that particular type of person. He's just my friend, a very good friend. And then 3 months after, he said to me, you know, I think it's time for us to be in a relationship. We have been friends for more than 10 years now. I think it's time for us to try the other ship. The other ship was what he said. So there and then I was shocked. So I was looking at him and he's like, hello, I'm talking to you. Can you hear me? Are you listening to me? And I said, yes. Okay. I heard you. I heard you. I heard you. Yes.
So when is the wedding going to be? I know you said, but do you have a date yet, or do you have an idea at least at a certain time when you plan to get married?
We have an idea that we are working with.
Okay, good. I'm happy. I'm happy for you. So what is one of your main things that you really want women who are going through right now, similar to you? What is that one main thing that you want them to understand through this process?
Do not lose yourself. During the process, as much as is possible, try to stay true to who you are.
Yeah.
There are going to be many persons who will have many things to say about you as an individual. In the midst of it all, stay true to yourself. Hold true to what you believe in. Always aspire to become better. So while they are talking, aim to become better. Build yourself. Find ways and means, or even persons. Associate yourselves with persons who can help you to become better. You know, I was reading about the story in the Bible about Jesus's friend, about the man friend, when Jesus was, I believe he was out on the road, and the paralyzed man, he wanted to be healed, but the crowd was so thick, and his friends, they went up on the roof and they decided that they were going to pull apart the roof so that he could get Jesus' attention. Associate yourself, ladies, with persons who can help you to become better. There are persons who will be talking about you, about your situation, about whatever it is that you are going through. Stay true to yourself. Keep focus on the prize. Especially if you're a goal-oriented person and you have an intention, you have a goal, you know where you are going. Even through the murky waters, still press. Still press.
Well said. Well said. So how long ago did this occur? Because I know you said right now you guys are on a break. Just trying to get the timeline so persons can understand. But how long ago?
It started in 2019. Since the release of my book, things have somewhat changed, the focus have somewhat been shifted in the church's perception. And my book came out last year, November. So about a year and about a year and 11 months, thereabout, yes.
Okay.
Or maybe more, about, yeah, roughly a year and a couple months, 2 years.
Okay. So now that the book has came out, have you regained some form of their confidence at church, or is it pretty much just the same, or did it get worse?
Yes, I have regained their confidence at church. They have since been coming around to realize that this was God's will. This is God's intended purpose for her. That, you know, as individuals, we cannot fathom the move of God because we do not think as how God thinks. So they are coming around. They have been reaching out more as opposed to how it was done prior to.
Good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. And what about your relationship now with the pastor? Because you said earlier that it was like a mother and daughter relationship. Were you able to rekindle that?
Rekindle. I don't believe it was out. I don't believe the fire was out. The fire was not out. Rekindle, the fire was not out. It's in my perception, though, it is not as tight as how it used to be. But the communication line is still open. The communication line is still open, but it's not as how it was before.
So then what about now your so did you get an opportunity at church, to probably speak with the women's ministry about your book, or to even get to testify now that they have regained confidence in you?
Yes, I have been testifying. I can tell you that. That was one of the rules that I broke because day in, day out, I still see God's work. Day in, day out, I have still seen the hands of God upon my life. So yes, of course, I still testify regardless of what they told me. The privilege or the opportunity has not been presented for me to share about my book. But yes, I still do testify.
So get to do that. Okay, good.
I do, however, with other churches. With other churches, I do book tours with them, but the opportunity has not presented for my church that I am attending.
And how does that make you feel?
How does that make me feel? I am a person who does not dwell too much on the negative. Okay. So I am going to reframe and answer the question. How does that make me feel? When I look and I see the reception that I'm getting from other churches as opposed to my church, it allows me to open my eyes more as to the persons who are, and I am going to go out and say this, persons who are with me as opposed to those who I thought was with me, if you're understanding what I'm saying. So the reception, when my book came out, my aunt was the first who came, and she took them and she ran to her churches, and she came back the other Sunday and she took them and she ran to her churches. And then there were other churches, coincidentally from pastors who have visited the same church, who came and they purchased their copies and they took it back to their churches. So the reception has been great from other churches as opposed to where I am right now. But as I say to you, Kimisha, I am not an individual who dwells on the negative. What I get, or what I am getting, is what I am getting. I cannot change the perception of man. That is not my business. That's not my responsibility. I live my life nonetheless. I am happy and contented nonetheless.
Good. I like that. I hope you guys are taking notes. I must say you are very brave, very strong. I like that tenacity and resilience, because that says a lot about who you are at the core. So that's really good. That's a really great, some really, really great characteristics to have. So I know we're coming close to the end, but I have to ask. Now, you talked about your side of the story. and I'm not sure if you can really speak on this, but maybe you might know, how was this journey? And it hasn't finished yet, but how has it been for him?
As I said to you, Kimisha, in the beginning, he was somewhat angry and upset by the church's decision.
Mm-hmm.
It changed his perception of the church. But what I am grateful for is that each man's journey is unique. And I try not to interfere with his journey in terms of pushing him to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
What I do offer is prayer. And I can say that from that, as well as from his socialization with other persons, he has been encouraged. He has been encouraged to become a Christian. I mean, persons walk up to him and, they would say, you have the mark of God on you. You cannot run. And there was even at one point in time, he was invited to speak at a men's service that they were having at a particular church within the community.
Wow.
The pastor was going through, because just like myself, we have so much similarities. So he usually shares some motivational on his status, and the pastor was going through, and the pastor saw some of his statuses, and the pastor was saying, maybe perhaps I should invite you to speak to our men. Speak to our men. It has been a wounded journey for him, but I've seen where he has grown and where he is continue. He has grown and where he is still growing.
Wow. Wow. So can you see that, would you say that this journey has actually made him stronger?
He looked at me recently and he said, I am proud of you. I've seen how you have held your head high. I've seen how you stood up for us. I've seen how you fought for us. And I am proud of you. And as a result of my demeanor, as a result of me continuing, as a result of my tenacity, my determination to go on, he too has adopted that same spirit to continue to press that level of resilience, although he was that type of person before, but that also gave him, my journey also gave him encouragement along his way.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. So tell us where we can get a copy of your book. Tell us where we can find out more about what you're up to, like where we can follow you, your social media. Tell us all the deeds.
All right, so my book is available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback formats. I believe it's $20 for paperback and $9 for Kindle. I am on Facebook, Kemone Francis, and I'm also on Instagram at Kemone Francis.
Okay, awesome. So just before we go, I want you to share any lasting words that you have for our audience here tonight. Anything that you really didn't, I didn't get an opportunity to ask you, but it's something that you really want them to hear. I just want to give you a few moments to go ahead and share that with them.
What I have come to realize, ladies, is that sometimes God crushes us, not to break us, but to bless us.
That's right.
Sometimes we're going through our periods of adversities, and we may ask, where is God in the midst of it? But I've come to realize that in those very moments when we cannot see his hands, to trust his heart. His plans for us are perfect. His will for us are perfect. Always remember, God's love for us is not dependent on the opinion of man. Man may have us in a different light, but God's will and purpose for us is marvelous. It's far above our expectations, far above what our minds can conceive.
That's right.
He is God all by himself. He needs no help. And so my encouragement to you ladies, pray. When it is hardest to pray, pray. Worship. When it is hardest to worship, when your backs are against the wall and you can't find the strength to worship, to pray, those are the moments. Those are the moments when you need to push a little bit more, when you need to try a little bit more. God is able to see the end. He's the author and finisher of all things. Do not stop in the middle. Push to the end. There's greater at the end. There's more at the end. He gives beauty for ashes, and he gives us clothes of righteousness for that which we have gone through, for that which we are going through. Trust and believe. He'll see you through. Thank you.
Man, very well said. Oh my gosh. Listen, I told you guys this was going to be good. I hope you got to take notes. And I hope that you got an opportunity to share this link with a friend too as well. Let's not be stingy. Let's share, because we don't know who out there is really going through it. Because just because someone does not say it does not mean they're not in a situation. Most times we hide and pride ourselves in silence because we are, just like the book says, shame. But good thing is, Kemone is here to tell you where shame ends, that's where grace begins.
Grace begins.
That's that. So if you have not gotten that opportunity as yet, go right ahead right now, share this link with a friend. And if you are not commenting, comment down below because we want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear what you thought about this. You know, give us some feedback because we're looking for you in the comments. But most importantly, make sure if you have not done it already, subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen right under this video so that you remain subscribed to this channel. And guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Kemone, we really want to thank you for sharing, for being so hot with us, you know, honest, open, and transparent. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. And guys, again, once again, thank you for tuning in. Whatever you do, have a great night and be safe out there. Goodbye.
Bye.